Hi, my name is Kevin, and today I'll be talking about baseball before the 1880s. Now, it was believed that the baseball originated from many countries with different cultures around the world, involving a game with a stick and a ball, and was eventually brought to America and turned into baseball. While other people believe baseball came from an English game called routers and brought to America and later changed into baseball. Now, a young man named Auburn Doubleday actually turned these English rally games and other games he heard across the cultures and actually turned them into a baseball game, turned them into baseball, and made the baseball game in Cooperstown, New York. He created baseball in 1839, and later on, people were actually playing these games, and actually teams would begin to form in different towns and different cities, and they would actually play against each other. And leagues would start to form, and a guy named Alexander Cartwright actually heard of a game called baseball and decided to create the formal rules of baseball. Some of these rules include making the bases 90 feet, because if you made it 100 feet or made the bases 80 feet, if you made it 80 feet, the runners become safe all the time. But you make it 100 feet, runners will be out every single time. So he actually studied the game and found out certain rules that need to be placed to make the game perfect, such as placing the base at 90 feet each. Now, his rules will change because they were also flawed. Like one rule he created was teams can only have 2 pitchers per team. Now this was a bad thing at the time due to the fact that since there's only 2 pitchers on the team, many of them became starting to have arm problems and shoulder problems to the point where it hurt so bad, or they just couldn't throw the baseball anymore because they had no rest for the arms. Now, for reasons like this, many players, such as pitchers, had to stop playing the game before they could even reach the age of 30. They had to stop due to shoulder problems. Now, rules were changing during this time also to fix rules issues like the pitchers, 2 pitchers per team, because they didn't want any more players quitting, or they wanted the game to keep growing. So of course they changed the rules, and they even still changing rules up to this day. Now, a guy named Candy Cummings threw the very first curveball in a professional game in 1867, and he accomplished this by practicing throwing seashells over the ocean, and saw that the way you turn your wrist, the seashell will go and move in a certain direction instead of just going straight like a regular baseball fastball. Now, he practiced this and actually took it to the game, and people were astounded by the way the ball will move and curve. But later on, batters and other baseball teams would get mad because it gave the batters an unfair advantage against the pitchers. So the rules changed where you could not throw a curveball in a baseball game anymore. It was banned. But later on, it was brought back. You were allowed to throw a curveball because the game was becoming too traditional on everybody would just get hit after hit after hit. They want to see some variety in just pitchers just throwing fastballs, which this actually create a more limited number of pitchers per team, because now only a certain amount of people were able to throw a curveball. Now, the first official baseball game was held in New York in 1846, while the Cincinnati Red Sox was the first professional team to be created during this time. And just to throw this in there with it, the first women's baseball league formed in 1866, allowing women to actually play baseball for the first time. Now, the 1880s was the first decade of baseball, and it grew like wildfire. It was a popular game at this time, and people loved it, so it grew, and eventually it became to baseball as we know today. Still changing and a lot more different, but it's still adapting and growing every day. Thank you.